Does a grand, unifying message lie hidden beyond the hypnotic visuals and coded titles of X7Q5A96? The true design behind this digital enigma has eluded even the most assiduous investigators, until now. And in this deep dive, we reveal this project's very grand plan and the ultimate purpose X7Q5A96 was meant to serve.
In the depths of YouTube, beyond the reach of trending lists and popular feeds, exist channels so strange and frightening that they challenge everything we know about the world around us.
Hi, my name is Mark, and I'm the host of the Scary Mysteries videos channel, where darkness and mystery come to life in every video that becomes the subject of our story. In one of our previous investigations, we already attempted to lift the veil on a mysterious project bearing the strange, almost unpronounceable name X7Q5A96. Since October of last year, its creator has been methodically uploading enigmatic videos to YouTube, the titles of which, for reasons known only to them, consist exclusively of numbers and Greek letters. The videos themselves are a veritable kaleidoscope of imagery, fragments of old films, archival footage from science documentaries, stock clips of atmospheric landscapes, and footage of distant astronomical objects. All of this, enveloped in hypnotic ambient music, seems to invite the viewer on a kind of meditative journey. Remarkably, X7Q5A96 won acclaim not just from viewers. The YouTube algorithm itself, with unusual persistence, began recommending its videos to a very diverse audience, even including those who had previously shown no interest in such content. At the same time, viewers noted that each video immediately evoked a strong emotional response in them. Testament to this were the comments in which users candidly shared their personal stories. Individuals with terminal diagnoses reported a sudden surge of strength. Those suffering from depression spoke of glimmers of joy, and those who had endured severe trauma described a life-saving sense of peace. All this sparked a wave of online rumors and theories about the channel's exceptional nature. Some believed that X7Q5A96 had somehow mystically hacked YouTube's algorithms and had found keys to the most hidden recesses of its viewers' consciousness. Moreover, over time, the most active participants in these discussions began to refer to each other as none other than the chosen ones, those whom, in their profound conviction, the almighty platform algorithm itself had marked with its special attention. And looking ahead, it must be acknowledged, there was a grain of truth in this self-identification, albeit not quite the one that lay on the surface. A segment of the audience delved headfirst into deciphering the video titles. One such interpretation, as you may recall, we even published in a pinned comment on our previous piece about X7Q5A96. However, the author of this interpretation, who introduced herself in a private correspondence as Grace, soon shared a startling detail with us. She claimed to have received the keys to the ciphers, not through analysis, but intuitively, in her dreams. By and large, as the channel's popularity grew, the mystical aura surrounding the project became increasingly palpable, and the chosen ones began to speak and act like members of some religious sect. I confess, I personally did not, at the time, experience those very effects that many viewers wrote about with such enthusiasm, and I regarded both the project itself and these ecstatic responses with clear skepticism. However, now that what I believe to be the true purpose behind this channel's creation has come to light, I must admit, my initial judgments were wide of the mark. This project and its unique concept are a truly astonishing phenomenon, practically unparalleled in the modern media landscape. Well then, after such bold statements, I suppose I have little choice but to finally get to the heart of it and tell you what, in my opinion, is hidden behind the enigmatic acronym X7Q5A96 and what the ultimate goal of its mysterious creator is. However, before we delve into the details, allow me to make a small but important digression. The fact is many of us, myself included, in trying to crack the X7Q5A96 code, assumed the answer lay in the videos that the channel's author posts on YouTube. In doing so, everyone forgot that X7Q5A96 is an entire ecosystem existing across multiple platforms, with the video channel playing the most prominent but far from the main role. The videos we see on YouTube are merely supplementary materials, if you will, and to understand the real scale and depth of the X7Q5A96 based solely on them is practically impossible. The true foundation and conceptual core of this project are found on the author's Patreon page. It is there, in a private space, accessible only to subscribers, that the creator reveals their most profound reflections on the structure of the universe, the mysteries of its origin, and the genuine role of humanity in this vast panorama of existence. What X7Q5A96 offers us extends far beyond ordinary internet content. It is a grandiose philosophical work in which the author's original ideas are intricately interwoven with the concepts of Carl Gustav Jung and echoes of Friedrich Nietzsche's ideas, with ancient religious tenets of Hinduism, Buddhism, and Gnostic teachings, as well as with metaphorical reinterpretations of the fundamental laws of quantum physics and chaos theory. To date, this unique canon comprises some 70 voluminous essays, complex, figurative, and metaphorical, at times inducing genuine vertigo. I won't hide that reading and comprehending all these extensive texts, down to the last comma, was a serious ordeal for me, but I persevered and am now ready to present to you the quintessence of this complex yet incredibly captivating philosophy in the most accessible and understandable form possible. Ready to dive in? Then let's go. To be clear, the author of X7Q5A96 remains silent about his sources and offers no explanation as to where he drew this profound knowledge from. Nevertheless, a meticulous analysis of his essays suggests that the ideas presented may have come to him intuitively, perhaps during deep practices of self-contemplation or meditation, which, it seems, he considered the primary path to understanding the mysteries of existence. According to his design, the universe, as we know it, is merely a facade, a representation, distorted by our limited senses, of a genuine, immeasurably more complex and multifaceted reality, one that endlessly repeats in its cycles and extends into an unfathomable depth inaccessible to our perception. According to the author's version, this immeasurably complex universe originates from an initial singularity, a concept undoubtedly familiar to those of you interested in modern physics. But in the author's interpretation, this singularity takes on not so much a material as a probabilistic character. It is presented as a point of concentration for all conceivable and inconceivable future variants, a field of pure potentialities. And therefore, the Big Bang itself in this system is not merely a physical expansion of space, but a kind of act of concretization, a selection of one out of an infinite multitude of developmental pathways for this multifaceted universe. According to the author's view, the fate of the universe, born from this Big Bang, is largely predetermined, but this predetermination only sets the general outline, rather than dictating every minute detail. In such a universe, all events, be they large-scale historical processes or personal experiences, develop in a circle, or to be more precise, in a spiral. They exhibit a clear tendency to repeat, yet, the author emphasizes, that each new turn of this cycle is never an exact copy of the previous one. History, as he aptly put it, is eternal recurrence in new shoes. Moreover, the creator of X7Q5A96 asserts that the spiral, in its essence, is a fundamental pattern of existence itself, a universal symbol of the infinite transformation of all that is, permeating both the microcosm and the macrocosm. This all-encompassing principle, in his opinion, manifests both on a metaphysical level, defining the cyclical nature of universal processes, and on a quite physical one, in the majestic curves of galactic arms, or in the very structure of the DNA molecule. And it is here, friends, that it becomes clear why the spiral so often becomes a persistent visual leitmotif in the author's enigmatic videos. Another no less significant idea from the creator of X7Q5A96 concerns the nature of time. The author asserts that its true essence differs radically from our accustomed linear perception. Time does not flow in one direction, from past to future, but, like the universe itself, possesses an all-encompassing, multi-dimensional character, surrounding us from all sides. What we perceive as a sequential flow is merely a simplified model created so that our limited minds can somehow comprehend this element. This is likely why it appears to us in the form of a cyclical spiral. We instinctively try to grasp time in its entirety, surveying it in a circle, but our senses and cognitive abilities do not allow us to see the whole picture at once. Imagine you are standing still and slowly turning, revealing ever new fragments of a vast panorama in precisely the same way. We sequentially piece together our understanding of the boundless, multi-dimensional flow of time. However, even while acknowledging the limitations of the human mind, the author of X7Q5A96 emphasizes our consciousness plays a special, surprisingly active, and significant role in this worldview, generating through its activity cracks and folds in the very fabric of the universe. Every choice we make, every decision, according to the author, constantly generates new probabilistic singularities, new nodes in the fabric of time, creating its alternative branches. Consequently, other versions of the universe, distinct from our own, arise, realities in which you or I acted differently. These countless universes, in the creator of X7Q5A96's view, exist in parallel, sometimes exerting mutual influence, or even sprouting into one another. It is precisely these intersections and interactions that can give rise to the anomalies we sometimes perceive as inexplicable phenomena, paranormal events, or even divine intervention. The limitation of the human mind, according to the author, manifests primarily in its fundamental inability to grasp the true profound design underlying the very act of the universe's creation. Moreover, any of our attempts to comprehend the cosmos through what we proudly call the scientific approach, with all its emphasis on empiricism and logic, are regarded in this concept as nothing less than a sophisticated deception, a false path that will never lead to genuine understanding. Linear time? It is declared to be no more than a fairy tale for adults. And we ourselves, humans, we are prisoners of the spiral, where every step that seems like forward movement is, in fact, merely a return to an already crossed threshold, artfully disguised as some new, astounding discovery. So what then is the true path to comprehending genuine, authentic reality? The answer the author offers may seem paradoxical. In his view, understanding the universe lies not in the search for answers or universal formulas, but in the recognition that the universe is unknowable through classical methods of studying our environment. The cosmos is incomprehensible because man himself is an organic, integral part of this boundless cosmic symphony. He is harmony embodied in flesh, a unique note played by invisible instruments. Any attempts to fully understand or control this order are doomed to fail from the outset, for we are part of its design, and the system cannot know itself from within. At the same time, The universe itself, in a somewhat simplified exposition, is seen by the author of X7Q5A96 as a vast whole, woven firstly from the unmanifested fullness of all conceivable and inconceivable possibilities, and secondly, from a continuous network of interactions among its countless components. And here we arrive at one of the key ideas. Every such interaction, be it a powerful gravitational bond, invisibly connecting colossal cosmic objects, or a twilight shadow playing on the eternal boundary of light and darkness, or indeed the complex relationships between people, all of this, in the author's conviction, generates a special vibrating field. The oscillations of this field can lead either to the interacting objects entering into resonance, thereby establishing harmony between them, or to a collapse, leading to their radical transformation. Proceeding from this worldview, a genuine understanding of the universe is not achieved at all through the application of our so accustomed linear logic or cold rational analysis. No, it comes through a different path, through the subtlest, almost meditative listening to universal silence, through the perception of barely perceptible deep vibrations and cosmic resonances, through a deep, total immersion into oneself. In other words, as the author asserts, by activating that very inner compass, which we humans call insight or intuition. In this context, man, according to the author, is not merely a biological organism, but a kind of temporary frequency node, constantly, instinctively seeking similar nodes, whether these are people or certain objects, in order to enter into a state of resonance with them. And those connections that we consider most significant, the deepest in our lives, are precisely those where the most powerful transformative interference occurs. It is this, it seems to me, that can explain the acute sense of community that arises among viewers in the comments under X7Q5A96's videos. It is highly probable that the author intentionally created his videos in such a way that they would serve as a kind of tuning fork, attuning viewers to a specific frequency, and thereby facilitating the emergence of mutual resonance and a profound emotional response. Furthermore, I surmise that it is precisely for this reason that the video titles on the X7Q5A96 channel are presented as numerical sequences. According to the author, numbers themselves also generate oscillations, and an attentive listening to them can likewise lead to resonance. He posits that each number, if one attunes to its unique vibration, carries a specific, distinct meaning. Mathematics here is regarded as a fundamental language in which the cosmos is written, and it is through numbers in the author's design that the gates to the profound essence of the universe are opened. However, he introduces an important clarification. If mathematics is indeed the language of the universe, then we humans are akin to doomed translators, eternally attempting to translate this language without ever truly grasping its genuine meaning. In the author's understanding, this science was not invented by us, but rather found, as if someone or something left it there for us as a clue, a labyrinth, or a test. Both mathematics and geometry, in the view of the author of X7Q5A96, are not merely academic disciplines. They are languages filled with profound mysteries and not fully comprehensible at our level of development. To support this thesis, he provides numerous examples in his essays, from the inexplicable regularity in the distribution of prime numbers and up to the often found in nature Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio, a mathematical proportion known since ancient times, believed to define perfect harmony in the division of a whole into parts. All these patterns, he insists, are not the result of random coincidence. They are elements of that very fundamental universal language, or if you will, code, through which the universe itself manifests its hidden structure. Moreover, this code, the author asserts, is found at literally every conceivable level of existence, from the subtlest vibrations of elementary particles and the ordered structure of atomic lattices. right up to the majestic, harmonious proportions in the distribution of matter in giant galaxies. So what do we have in the end? X7Q5A96 is not just a set of enigmatic videos, but a meticulously constructed philosophical concept offering an alternative perspective on the structure of the world, human consciousness, and the fate of the universe. And I must say, the scale and thoroughness of this teaching are incredibly impressive to me. The author masterfully intertwines ancient mystical teachings with modern metaphors from the world of science and technology, creating a unique discourse that evidently resonates with a specific, rather substantial segment of the audience. The YouTube videos, with their hypnotic aesthetic, serve as a kind of introduction, an emotional and intuitive hook, while the true depth of the teaching is revealed by the author in his mind-bending essays on Patreon. X7Q5A96 is not so much an attempt to provide definitive answers as it is an invitation to an infinite process of cognition through self-contemplation, intuition, and the acceptance of the paradoxical nature of existence. Well, what comes next? The creator of X7Q5A96 evidently has no intention of stopping, and as long as his essays continue to appear and his videos to stir minds, we will remain attentive observers. Whether this project is an ingenious mystification or a sincere attempt to convey profound knowledge to us, this question may well remain unanswered. But the fact remains, X7Q5A96 has stirred something important in the consciousness of many people, compelling us, myself included, to once again ponder the eternal. And this undoubtedly makes it a phenomenon worthy of admiration and one that should by no means be ignored. In the meantime, stay tuned, more mysteries lie ahead. And we still have enough light with us to break through the most impenetrable darkness hidden in the depths of the internet. Subscribe to Scary Mysteries videos right now. Immerse yourself in the unknown and become part of the revelation. Uncover the hidden